What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So we're back. We're starting our season previews, and we're going to start with the Arizona Cardinals. It's actually my hometown team. They're just 100 miles north of where I live, so I hear a lot of Cardinal news, and you know what? They're a very interesting team to follow. I mean, especially with the whole DeAndre Hopkins trade. So a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things going on in Arizona. So we're going to take a dive. We're going to look at the roster. We're going to look at their schedule. We're going to look at who I think their starters may be, and I'm going to give you a prediction on how I think they're going to do next season. But first and foremost, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you enjoy the content, and if you thoroughly enjoy it, go ahead and share this video. All of that is much appreciated, much obliged. But before we get in, like I said, all these season previews, they're going to be happening. So if over the next month, you're going to be catching all these at the end of this based on my projection of how I think they're going to do. I'm going to do a mock draft on that draft order, as well as we're going to have some other videos kind of here and there as this month goes on. So it's going to be a lot of stuff, a lot of content coming to the channel. So be excited, get excited. But let's go ahead and let's dive into the dang thing. Let's first take a look at their roster, and we're going to take a look at the offense. Obviously, you got Kyler Murray. He's your starter. As far as the wide receivers, I think your outside receivers are going to end up being DeAndre Hopkins. It's going to be Christian Kirk. Larry Fitz is more of they use him more as a slot guy, and then you might be like Andy Isabella. They used him a lot in the slot last year. I think that is really a disservice, a misuse of him. He's a vertical threat on the outside, and I'd like to see them do more of that when they go to their 4 receiver sets. Kind of maybe move Christian Kirk into slot with Larry, and then have Isabella on the outside. But also keep in mind they do have Akeem Butler. He was a kind of a projection. He was a very raw prospect. So I like to see maybe if he gets some time how he's developed. Keyshawn Johnson, he saw a lot of snaps last season. So there's a lot going on with the receiving core. Kenyon Drake is there as their running back. Keep in mind he's only on a 1-year deal, that transition tag. So maybe they get a long-term deal with him. If not, I'm not too worried, just because I really like what they have. Chase Edmonds, he's proven he's been pretty solid. And Eno Benjamin, I thought was a very, very good late-round pick. He's a guy just to look for to get in the rotation there. As for the tight ends, yes, tight end is actually pretty important here in Arizona, because tight end, they get significant snaps. Last year, Max Williams, he almost had 500 snaps, while Charles Clay almost had 400. I think it was at like 369. So they do get significant work. Max Williams, I think they kind of trust him a little bit more. And it looks like Charles Clay isn't even on the roster anymore. So on the offensive line, this is probably, for me, I think the Achilles heel. Wow, words of this roster. Humphreys, he's solid. He's okay. I think he's good enough. He's an above average starter there at left tackle. Justin, or whatever. He just gets banged up all the time. So that's my one worry with him. J.R. Sweezy, he's a solid vet. Honestly, Marcus Gilbert, I know they brought him back. He was hurt last year. But I think Josh Jones has a good chance of actually starting ahead of him. And if not at the beginning of the year, eventually. I think Josh Jones is that good. He was a top 15 prospect in my mind. So them getting him in the 3rd round was a major steal. My question here is at center. Mason Cole, I know he was banged up last year, but when he was in, it wasn't that good. His rookie year, he was terrible. A guy I'm interested in, a guy that I was actually, I don't want to say pretty high on, but a guy that I thought was draftable, Lamont Gaillard. This guy came out in the 2019 draft. He was a late round pick. He didn't see any snaps last season. So I really think he can push for that starting spot, but it kind of looks like it might be Mason Cole's to lose. And then the defense is very interesting, and more so because of Vance Joseph, how he likes to run just space packages. Not often is he going to bring in a 5th cornerback or safety. So it kind of made sense them picking up a lot in their like edge rusher or linebacking for there. I mean, the addition of Kennard, they brought in Campbell, who I don't think might see the field too much. Isaiah Simmons, they say they're going to stick to him with or give him one role, at least initially. I don't know how that really plays in, but he's going to be seeing the field a lot. But the secondary is going to be a big problem for this team. I think, I'm not positive, it really depends on Byron Murphy, how he progresses in year 2 here. And if Patrick Peterson, he wasn't terrible last year, but it was definitely a step or two down from his usual performance. So if he come back, be good. Jalen Thompson, there's a lot to be excited about with him. Buda Baker, he's one of the better safeties in the league. So there's reason for optimism, but definitely I think the defense, the secondary in particular, is kind of the weak spot on this team. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the schedule now. We've kind of gone into that there. So looking at the schedule, I think this team has a great shot at doing very well. They have a particularly easy schedule facing the AFC East and the NFC East. I mean, you got Washington, you got the Giants, you got the Jets, you got the Dolphins. The Dolphins, they're basically where the Cardinals were last year, now drafting their franchise quarterback and starting to, get things to work around him, trying to rebuild that franchise. So I think, especially with the Patriots, Tom Brady-less Patriots, don't sleep on them, but still, I think a lot of winnable games here for the Cardinals. You got the Carolina Panthers on the schedule too, so you gotta love that. San Fran and Seattle, they will be tough games, but I think this Cardinals team has done enough to be very competitive in this division, especially with the Rams. They kind of took a step down after this offseason because they have had a lot of cap problems. My only problem with this is they face them so late on the schedule that, by December, typically by November, you're hoping that everything's starting to run a little bit smoother. You kind of know how your team operates, and just teams are much better in November. So they don't face them till December 6th, and then they have to finish week 17 with them. So, that's a bit scary, a bit of a question mark, but I guess we'll see when it comes to that. So let's go ahead. Let me just get into the starters here. I'm gonna switch back, and my starters, who I think are gonna get the most snaps here, I have Kyler Murray, obviously, Kenyon Drake, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, and then I have Larry fitted in as a slot. And like I said, the tight end actually do get pretty significant snaps here in this offense. So Max Williams, he looks like the starter to me. Then Humphreys, I got Pugh, I got Cole, who, like I said, man, I think it's going to be very competitive for the, or at least in training camp, for that center spot. And then I do have Sweezy, and I have Josh Jones actually taken over, seeing bulk of the time there at right tackle over Marcus Gilbert. And then onto the defense, like I said, they like to use that a base defense. They don't really come into a lot of nickel packages, so I think they're going to be using Isaiah Simmons, at least in interesting ways. So I got Corey Peters, I got Jordan Phillips, you got Chandler Jones, you got Kennard. They spent a lot of money on those guys, so they're going to be on the field. Jordan Hicks is their best coverage linebacker, so he's got to be on the field. Hassan Reddick is kind of the odd man out. I think him and Campbell will be sharing some snaps, but Reddick gives you a lot more versatility. He's much better in coverage than Campbell. Isaiah Simmons, I think they will use him kind of like a nickel linebacker / they could bump him into the slot because he is good enough to cover guys in the slot. The guy is very versatile. So I think for the most part they'll kind of keep him around the line of scrimmage when they talk about giving him one role, so we won't see him back at safety. But I think we will see him around the line of scrimmage, whether it's inside or in the slot, excuse me. And then we got Thompson, Murray, Peterson, and Buda Baker. So that is what the offense is looking like. Or the defense. So, like I said, the defense might be the Achilles heel. They were kind of hard to figure out who may get the most snaps for, but Jordan Phillips comes in. We'll see. He had a lot of cleanup sacks last year. Will he be able to retain that type of production here in Arizona? Maybe. But I got Arizona with a very favorable schedule, going 9-7. I still think they're a year away from truly competing for this division. I mean, I think they'll be in that playoff race with the Seahawks, trying to get that last spot. I think San Fran might be a runaway for them in this division, but 9-7 is not bad. They are getting better. There are areas they need to address, but I think there's reason to be very optimistic about the Arizona Cardinals. But yeah, that's it for the video. Go ahead and do the YouTube thing. That's always much appreciated, much obliged. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.